The mess hall at Camp Redding was loud that afternoon, trays clattering, laughter echoing off metal walls, and the smell of coffee and burnt toast hanging in the air. At one of the corner tables sat a woman in a plain gray t-shirt, sleeves rolled up, quietly eating her meal. She didn't wear a name tag, no visible rank, no insignia. Just calm eyes that watched everything without saying a word. Across the room, a group of new recruits noticed her. 15 of them, fresh out of boot camp, brimming with ego and energy. One of them, Private Lawson, leaned toward his buddies. "Who's that? Looks like a lost civilian," he joked loud enough for nearby tables to hear. The others laughed. The woman didn't react. She simply took another bite of her food, her expression unreadable. Lawson smirked. "Hey, ma'am, this area is for military personnel. Civilians eat outside." A few heads turned. The entire mess hall began to quiet down. The woman set her fork down gently, wiped her hands on a napkin, and stood up. She was shorter than most of them, maybe 5'7", but there was something about the way she moved, precise, controlled, like every step had purpose. "I'll leave," she said evenly, "if you can make me." The recruits exchanged grins. A few stood up, thinking it was a joke. But the tone in her voice wasn't joking. The sergeant behind the counter looked up from his tray. "You kids might want to sit down," he muttered, but none of them listened. Lawson took a step forward. "We don't want to hurt you, lady." That's when it happened. In less than 2 seconds, her tray slid off the table, she stepped in, twisted Lawson's wrist, and before anyone could react, he was face down on the floor. Another recruit lunged. She sidestepped, used his momentum, and sent him sprawling into a chair. 3 more came at once. She ducked, pivoted, and swept a leg. Bodies hit the ground one after another, the clatter of boots and metal trays echoing across the hall. No punches to show off. No wasted motion, just clean, surgical precision. When it was over, all 15 recruits were either on the floor or standing frozen, too afraid to move. The entire mess hall was silent. Even the kitchen staff stopped working. The woman picked up her tray, brushed off a few crumbs, and looked around calmly. "Anyone else hungry?" she asked. The recruits shook their heads, wide-eyed. At that moment, the double doors opened, and a commander walked in. His eyes widened as he saw her. Then he straightened his posture instantly. "Ma'am," he barked, "didn't know you were on base." Every recruit turned at once. The commander continued, "Recruits, you just tried to challenge Lieutenant Commander Sarah Kane, Navy SEAL, Silver Star recipient, and your new tactical instructor." 15 jaws dropped. Kane just gave a small nod. "Lesson 1, she said. Don't pick fights you can't finish." Then she walked out, leaving silence, and respect, in her wake. The next morning, the recruits gathered at the training field, still sore from the embarrassment in the mess hall. None of them dared to speak her name out loud, but the story had already spread across the base. Everyone now knew, Lieutenant Commander Sarah Kane, Navy SEAL. When she appeared on the field, dressed in full combat fatigues with her hair tied back and a stopwatch around her neck, silence fell instantly. She didn't shout like other instructors. She didn't need to. Her presence alone demanded discipline. "Yesterday," she began, pacing slowly before them, "you mistook silence for weakness. You mistook calm for fear. That's mistake number 1. Today, we correct it." She pointed toward the obstacle course, a grueling mile of mud, walls, wire, and water. 15 of you, 1 course. You'll run it together. If one of you falls behind, you all start over. A few recruits exchanged nervous looks. Kane clipped her stopwatch. "Go." They ran. Within minutes, the field filled with the sound of grunts, splashes, and strained breathing. Kane didn't yell or insult them, she simply followed, silent and sharp-eyed, moving faster than any of them expected. When one recruit slipped beneath the rope crawl, she was already there, hauling him out by his vest with one arm. "Get up," she said flatly. "No one gets left behind. Not here." They kept going, over walls, through trenches, across muddy pits, but fatigue set in fast. After the 5th obstacle, 2 recruits dropped to their knees, gasping for air. Can't keep up," one panted. Kane crouched beside them, her expression unreadable. "You think the enemy waits for you to catch your breath?" She stood and barked, "On your feet." Somehow, they obeyed. When they finally reached the last obstacle, a 40-foot cargo net, everyone was shaking. Kane climbed it beside them, boots digging into the rope, never slowing. By the time they reached the top, one recruit lost his grip and froze. His hands trembled. "Ma'am," he stammered, "I can't." She didn't hesitate. "You can." She positioned herself beneath him, locking eyes. "You climb, or you fall. Decide." He swallowed hard, and climbed. When they reached the finish line, every recruit was covered in mud, drenched in sweat, and barely standing. Kane stopped her watch. 27 minutes, she said quietly. "Not bad, not good either, but you finished." She let the silence hang for a moment, then continued. "What you did today wasn't about strength. It was about discipline, trust, and pain. That's what separates soldiers from SEALs." One of the recruits, Lawson, the same one she dropped in the mess hall, finally stepped forward. "Ma'am," he said, voice hoarse, "permission to speak." She nodded. "Thank you, for not giving up on us." For the first time, a small smile crossed her face. "You'll learn fast, Private. SEALs don't quit, not on themselves, and not on their team." Then she turned and walked off, leaving behind 15 recruits who now stood taller, and understood exactly who they were dealing with.